The Adirondacks are a very special place, and the rivers are an integral part of that.
It's interesting, since moving to Upper Jay in the town of Jay, I've come to realize that the river is really just the backbone of the town.
It's an amazing watershed. It's known throughout the country for its tremendous fishing, its enormous beauty, its clean water.
The Ausable River flows from the heart of the Adirondack Park, one of the oldest, largest, and most unique protected areas in the United States. Its headwaters rise on the flanks of Mount Marcy, Whiteface, and other summits in the High Peaks Wilderness. At the river's outlet into Lake Champlain, Ausable Marsh is an oasis for breeding birds and other wildlife. In between, the river and its tributaries traverse a patchwork of preserved and primitive areas, hamlets and villages, and timber and industrial lands.
We knew the salt application was having a negative impact. The idea first was to try to figure out how to measure the amount of salt that was being applied in the wintertime.
What is on the land ends up in our waterways, I think, is a big message from this cleanup.
Doing something good, something productive, and having fun just makes it a win-win.
So we created something with an incredible science team, created what's called the East Branch Restoration Plan.
From summit to shoreline, the stories told here reflect the commitment of Adirondack communities to protecting lands and waters that inspire and sustain them. Sound science, community engagement, and individual action come together to foster a sustainable future for the Ausable River.
This was our annual paddling river cleanup. So this is our 6th year that we partnered up with Adirondack River Rentals. And we had members from the community come out and volunteer to clean up the river.
I think it's good to give back, and we were offered volunteer time through our work. It's a nice day, we're on the water, can't be that bad, right?
It's a simple thing, but it's a sense of accomplishment when you can load up several hundred pounds of tires that are otherwise polluting this waterway. So yeah, I mean, it's a fun morning and it's a beautiful day, and who could argue wading around in the Ausable River?
So volunteers are really important for us, especially in work like this where, what would 3 of us do compared to a whole group of us?
The river is, it's kind of a staple through all the communities that it runs down through. So it's nice that people are trying to keep it clean.
It's kind of fun to be, part of a group effort that is clearly aimed, in the right direction.
For Mirror Lake, it's a really good news story around road salt. If it hadn't been for a volunteer that took it upon themselves to enroll Mirror Lake in the Adirondack Lake Assessment Program, we still might not understand what is going on. And we certainly wouldn't have made the progress on salt reduction that we've made since that time. But in short, it was one of the saltiest lakes in the Adirondack Park.
It does take the education of everybody, and where we get that information out to business owners, where hopefully the business owners are getting that to their employees, and the employees, front-facing employees, could get that to the public. Our message to businesses, we're, just try to use less and use it at the right times. If freezing rain's coming, then that's probably a good time to apply to the sidewalk. But if it's just snow, like really trying to shovel that snow up and using as little salt as possible. And I'm optimistic with the education component. Just keep talking to people and then keep making strides towards that salt reduction. I have a really optimistic outlook for the lake, especially seeing the data from this past year.
One of the significant changes the village made was in maintenance of these sidewalks. They used to sweep and salt them every time they went out. And now they're going out and sweeping, but not always salting. We've seen the salt concentrations in Mirror Lake just on a steady downward trend. So lots of good news for Mirror Lake. Hopefully what's learned here will be exported to communities throughout the basin so that they can reduce their salt use as well.
It's an amazing watershed, but it's a place with an industrial past. I mean, this was a heavily logged, heavily used river.
Because of that legacy, there was a lot of over-widening, straightening, dredging to facilitate the movement of logs downstream. It sort of starts this self-perpetuating cycle of erosion.
It became more and more evident to people that while the river looked pretty, it had challenges in its function and its ability to do the things that a river needs to do. So we were lucky in the late 1990s, the community actually got together and created the Ausable River Association because they knew they needed to think about the river smart. So we've been thinking about, in places like Upper J and Keene, and where the communities and their roads are built right next to the river, how do we help people and the river coexist? We look to natural stream restoration methods. We rebuild the form and the function of the river, and we can do that because there are big healthy sections of river, and transfer that knowledge to the damaged sections. So we created something with an incredible science team, created what's called the East Branch Restoration Plan. Identified 13 projects. This was the first one completed on the lower East Branch. The exciting news is that the upstream 13 miles of the East Branch of Ausable River is now funded for its own plan.
When I was watching the river project that was completed in 2021, definitely I was one of the skeptics and participated in a lot of the community conversations, because seeing an excavator in a natural resource just feels so ridiculous. To me, participating in one of the community get-togethers feels really important, to just educate oneself about what is happening with the project because of all the misconceptions. So now, having had the understanding of talking with folks who are part of that project, and also then seeing, in my experience, the success of that project, it feels like this is our best attempt to act in a reciprocal way with the river to restore it to its ecological health, while also maintaining our communities and allowing people to stay in their homes and allowing businesses to thrive in the locations that they're at.
These stories are just a few examples of the impact of community engagement and collaboration. People of all ages in all parts of the watershed can help protect and restore waterways and ecosystems. To learn how you can get involved, visit lcbp.org/dive-in.